Hello, this is Martin Brossman, and I'm here with Brian at Cracked It. It's great to be here, and I'm so sorry for the challenges you've had.
Well, thanks for coming, Martin. Yeah, it is. It has been challenging.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you came on the radar because I was thinking about all the wonderful local-owned business affected by the storm, and I saw so many resources to help the individuals, which is important. But I thought, what about the businesses? What can we do to help? And I started calling people going, is there somewhere here someone can donate to businesses? And they all said, well, there are the resources for the business, but I don't know a donation area. And then I saw your shop with water literally looked like halfway up the building and said, closed until further notice or something. What was the word you used?
That's exactly what
it
was closed until further notice. A hurricane brought me into the business, and a hurricane has nearly taken me out. But we're happy to say that we've made almost a full recovery. We're working towards it. We've got about another week of work. We're looking forward to being reopened on November the 1st.
And this is an example where I want to talk a little bit about the process you went through with it and encourage people to possibly adopt a business. Loved a business, you heard there was a storm, reach out to them and find out. And this happened, and you got on the radar one, you showed it. You just didn't go under, you said, closed to further notice and showed the water. And talk about that process you went through, the tragedy of having to lay off your staff, which you and I know in a business, they're family to us.
Absolutely.
This is personal. This isn't just, it's like having to disconnect from one of your children or your brother that you loved or something. And talk about what went on, a little bit about how you survived and how you got back on the horse and where you are now and what are we in front of?
I'll cover this last, but so Hurricane Florence was a disaster, a natural disaster and an economic disaster. Specifically in all the counties affected, the 28 odd counties that are affected by the hurricane. There's lots of small businesses like my own that have taken a major hit. Many of them are not going to be able to reopen again because of many of the reasons that many small businesses fail, either lack of capital, like my own self, lack of insurance and insurance payouts, and not having the ability or the wherewithal to make a full recovery. I've been really fortunate that by working with the Small Business Center, I've learned a lot of things over 3 years. And one of those, a key point that was always stressed was have working capital built up. And I've been really diligent over the last year or so, and I was very able to sock away 6 months worth of operating expenses, not anticipating that I would ever need to dip into it, but this is a prime example of why you should do that. So when the storm hit, I was really optimistic when I walked in the door on the first day because this side of the building had only taken a little bit of minor water damage until I went on the other side of the building, which is my workshop side, and it was a complete devastation. The roof had blown off half the building. There was water penetration throughout the building, and the ceiling had collapsed. It had damaged a lot of my shop equipment, and the health hazards that had happened from that, the mold growth, and everybody across the East is experienced in this. Mold growth and mildew growth. I couldn't reopen to the public with any real sense that I would be taking care of my guests. So our first stop was to say, okay, as of September 15th, we are closed indefinitely, and we don't know if or when we will ever reopen. And from there, it was to build an action plan, assess where we are, file insurance claims with our particular insurance companies. Unfortunately, the building owner that I have, there's no insurance on this building. So any repairs that were made were going to be funded by myself in conjunction with the building owner. And we've kind of worked out a 50-50 split on that as who's going to be responsible for repairs, just to get me back in business as quickly as possible. And after we established that, I brought my business insurance company in, and they did a quick walk around, and then once it was found out that there was no business or building insurance on it, they reviewed my policy, and it turns out that my insurance company, my business insurance company, is not going to be able to pay out anything really because the damages that I had to my materials, my business equipment, did not exceed my deductible. So it's really a wash. The way my policy was written, I didn't have loss of business income. as part of my policy. Which if you if you get business insurance, go line by line through your business insurance and ensure that you have some sort of coverage for, God forbid, a disaster happen like this, where you're closed for an extended period of time, that you can reap something back. So I've been closed for 6 weeks. We're coming up on the 7th week on Monday. So for 7 weeks, my business has not generated any income. I had, at the time of closing, I had 6 staff members. I had 1 full-time staff member, my manager, and then I had 5 part-timers that, as of September 15th, they're without a job. They're unemployed. Fortunately, the North Carolina Employment Security Commission has set up a resource for disaster unemployment assistance that I encouraged all of my staff to take advantage of. Hoping that we would be able to bring them back once we're reopened. Also, the Small Business Administration has set up a really great resource for us as small business owners to get that bridge loan and some working capital so that we can get reopened. And like I said, I've been really fortunate because I've put away a certain amount of money for an emergency, a rainy day fund, and God forbid this was a rainy day. I've been able to use those funds to get the rebuild process done. So we got a new roof on the building. I just had my drywall repaired, and we're getting ready to reopen. So I'm a fortunate example of a business that's going to be able to reopen. But there are many others out there that are not going to be able to because of those reasons that I said, is that they don't have working capital, or they're not aware of the Small Business Center network or the Small Business Administration and the resources available to them, or they don't know how to apply. So an adoption of a local business is a great idea, is by taking one of those mom and pop shops that are in your backyard, that are contributing to your community, are employing your high school kids or your spouses. Those are the meat and potatoes of a community, and being able to give back to that community in such a way is an outstanding thing. So I think it's a great thing to adopt a business or have that kind of program. You know, to shop local, review local, buy local. Those aren't just hashtags and buzzwords. Those are true methods of supporting your community.
And what I did is, when I didn't find a place to donate, I contacted an excellent writer in New Bern that I knew, who said, we had a shed in the back door, we don't know where it is now, but we still have a house. And so I was able to say, look, I want to pay up front for the article, let's get it going. Then I needed an example and found you, thanks to sharing it. You know, one of the big things is often during a bad time, the businesses stop communicating. And then people just kind of like lose track of them, make up the worst story or something. So there's no way to let people contribute if they want to. And then we brainstormed, she wrote the article, then I came up, well, we need something that people could buy to start, so I came up with my t-shirt, Shop Local, and then it was another escape room, to let you know, that's in my class bought one of the shirts, they're opening. Then you bought the shirt, and I go, what's he buying a shirt for? He has to do it. Because I knew you told me when I reached out to you, there are people much worse than me. If this could help, I'd want to. So that's why I thought, well, I hadn't figured out where to put the money. And I thought, well, can I just give it to you till the end of the year? I don't know that we'll make that much, but you know, at least I felt I had a pay it forward built into it. And I was so excited to do that. And that's what kind of drew me to this idea of, if you have like a vacation place you go to or somewhere in the storm, let's say you're in Raleigh, Charlotte, or in Asheville or Asheboro, reach out to them on social. Reach out to them. See if they're okay. Find out. If there's a challenge, say, you know, what can I do to help? If they're a gift shop, do you have anything for sale for Christmas?
One of the things, I've been really fortunate. I've built a really great community around our business through Facebook and our other social media channels. And you're right, by me communicating, hey, we're down, but we're not out. We got hit pretty hard, but we're not out of business. And in continually updating that audience, it keeps my friends, fans, and family in the loop on what's going on with us. So whenever we have a major development, like putting up our driveway,
yeah, I saw the pictures.
I post a picture. That way, it does generate that excitement that, hey, this business is coming back, and it's going to come back strong. We're going to come back better than we were before we got shut down. But there, like I said, there's not a lot of businesses that are able to do that.
Yeah.
Drive around Onslow County or up to New Bern, Jones County, Carteret County. There's many businesses that are out of business and may not come back. And that's a great economic impact to this community, to this area, to this region. When, like the Ice House in Swansboro, that business was destroyed. And I drove by it yesterday. It's pylons. They're rebuilding. They're in a position that they're going to rebuild that business, and that's a major contributor to the economy of Swansboro. Yeah. My competitors across town, Escape Trials, they got damaged worse than we did, and they're going through that process. Their process is a little bit slower than mine, but we're hoping that they're going to be able to come back. I've reached out to the owners and said, hey, if there's anything that you need that I can do, we are a community of businesses, and use all of the assets available to us through the Small Business Center, through the Small Business Administration, through FEMA. There's lots of resources have poured into this region, and not everybody is taking full advantage of those. I had an opportunity to speak very briefly with the Small Business Administrator, Miss Linda McMahon, and she made me aware that there's a loan program for small businesses like me to get up to $2 million worth of working capital. And all I have to really do is apply. And this SBA at last check, had written $382 million in loans in this region to get businesses back to where we were prior to the storm. So it's one of those things that having resources available, knowing what they are, knowing how to apply for them and use them, that's really a benefit to what we're doing at the Small Business Center with Ann Shaw and her staff and the statewide.
Which are great. Well, you have the head of the state here, which is good too. I called her to say, do you know of a resource to help? She goes, I'm cutting down trees here in my front yard, and she still wanted to help. So shout out to Ann Shaw, her commitment. And that's a Small Business Center, and a number you mentioned. We'll get some links to put in the area below for people, and I'll put in the shirt that if they want to buy a shirt, it's going to him. And the other thing I wanted to just bring up is, would you tell us what's behind us? Because you're opening again, and you're going to do your best to bring on as many people as you can, and explain what are we standing in front, because we can't go into these places when they're under development. It's a secret.
So this is DEFCON 1, Red Alert. This is our 1980s Fallout Shelter escape room. This is our entrance facade. So when you come into Crafted Escape Games and many other escape rooms, we try to set the mood for you as you're entering the game. So we want you to be transported from 2018 to 1987. And by going in, I grew up in the Cold War.
Me too.
I remember what it was like for duck and cover.
Yeah.
So this was a special excitement that I had when I built this game, because it was bringing me back to my teenage years and my childhood. So this is one of our 3 games that we have here. Our other room is behind us. Formerly it's Queen Anne's Revenge, soon to be New Blood, New World. We're in the process of developing an all-new game. We're going to put our Christmas room in there real soon. Okay. And then in the front of our building is Mod's Madness. It's our kind of a spooky, haunted dollhouse themed room. Yeah. So we have 3 operational games here, plus we have the ability for corporate groups to come in and have parties or do training. We also have mobile assets that we can take off-site to a place that wanted to have an escape room, come visit them. This weekend is the Oktoberfest here in Jacksonville. And normally I have a booth there. This year I'm not going to be able to attend it. But if I were, I have my portable booth that I could bring downtown, slap it up, and get the word out that we're coming back. And we're going to come back strong.
Absolutely. And what I've learned I got my first tour of an escape room. And usually when I'm teaching, you're coming here, I'm flying back to Raleigh. But I got my first tour, the imagination in it, the ingenuity. I mean, the people who own this, from my experience now of knowing several, this is a passion of love. They're developing a game that they come up with, and all of yours are original. You didn't buy it from a book or anything else. You were kind of born for this, is what it looks like, because it's got high tech, low tech, imagination, creativity, understanding levels of difficulty for people, and everything else. So it's just incredible. And to hear the story of how it's a team building thing. It's both, it really is. It's people working to figure out new ways to work together as well, either as a family or something else. And that's the exciting part about it. So I want to wrap up with, how can the audience learn more about you? Where do they need to go and keep up with what's going on?
Sure, you can visit us at crackeditnc.com. That's my website. You can book tickets directly online, and you can also visit us we're on Facebook and all social medias. We are the @ CRACKEDITNC on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
Yes!
We're the same across. Martin taught me that.
Yes!
Unify my social networks across.
And I appreciate, the greatest joy in teaching these classes is people taking the material and making money with it. So I want to thank you for letting me contribute to you. It's great. Thanks so much. Take care, folks. If you like this, share it, comment, let the world know about it, subscribe, get involved, and look for the notes below of resources we have. So thanks again. This is Martin Brossman.
And Brian Vinciguerra.